Coach Eric Nichols, it's been a few days since you guys got back to Northwest Ohio, but over the weekend you went to Pittsburgh, had a couple good 1-0 wins in the Pitt Nike Invitational. Maybe just start us off, just kind of give us a little brief summary of the weekend.
Yeah, super weekend. Two very tough opponents. We knew that going in. Duquesne, very organized, big, athletic. Pitt, similar. Both teams very stingy with goals. Hardworking, organized team. So, we knew they were going to be tough games, and they certainly lived up to that. It took us to overtime to get the one against Duquesne. Certainly could have gone either way, but our guys really showed a lot there in the overtime and got the win they deserved. And then Pitt took us till I think 8 minutes to go, and Danny had a great goal. And leaving Pittsburgh with two W's is huge.
You mentioned that both those teams are hardworking and organized, and I would say, and maybe I'm biased as your SID, but I feel like that's sort of the words that could be used to describe your team as well. I mean, is it good to get a couple games against teams like that you're both working hard and making the other side work for everything?
Yeah, it's funny how perspective changes things. You might think we're organized. I think at times we're very unorganized. But I think my point there was that these are probably two teams that really hang their hat on just their work rate and their organization. And at least that's what we saw going in, and that it would be our biggest challenge would be try to match them in those areas, and then we thought the soccer would take care of itself.
And you left on Thursday for that trip, played Friday and Sunday, so you're looking at 3-4 days on the road you have the off day in between. I'm sure you had practice in there on Saturday, but I mean, is it nice to get away like that, just the team, and you kind of bond as a group? And
yeah, it's great. We've been here for a while. We did a nice preseason trip,
mm-hmm.
But we've been home for quite a while for preseason and 3 home games, so it was good to get away. Had a light training session on Saturday. Some of the guys didn't play a lot of minutes, got after it, and then we had a nice little afternoon. Actually did some swimming, played a little street hockey. Just a normal day in between games.
And as the head coach, are you sort of walking that fine line between like wanting the guys to have fun, but boy, if this street hockey game gets a little too intense, we got a problem?
Yeah, I think we crossed that fine line. There's nothing I could do. The guys, a bunch of hockey sticks and balls and competitive group of guys. There's not a whole lot you can do.
All right. Well, then we won't even talk about that on camera. Then there's nothing. Obviously, everyone came out of it okay, and came out
mostly.
And came out and got a win the next day. So
yeah.
I guess that's a good thing. And then now you come back from one tournament, and you pretty much turn around and you hit the road again. Head to Nashville to play Belmont and Lipscomb, a couple teams that you played Lipscomb last year, but they're not teams that obviously you are in our region, so they're not overly familiar. What do you know about those teams, or what do you expect from this weekend?
Yeah, we're still, we played Lipscomb last year, so we know a little bit about them, but teams change from year to year. And, we know a lot less about these two opponents than we did our opponents going into last weekend. We're trying to get some information on them. But even going into last weekend, I think at this stage of the game, you're really concentrating on yourself and doing the things that you need to do and holding yourself to your own standards. And we feel like if we can get close to our standards, then we're going to be all right.
And you sort of, maybe you feel like you're answering the same question again, but you kind of led into something I was going to ask about. You've all through September here, August and September, you're playing non-conference games, and I know you want to get a result every time out, and so far you're 4-1, which is actually the team's best start in 15 years. But is it at this point, obviously you want to get the result, as I said, but is it just as important to kind of develop as a team so that are you sort of gearing toward the MAC games and the MAC tournament? Is it kind of both?
Yeah,
maybe?
I think that would be one of our many goals is to do well in the MAC, get into the tournament, possibly win the tournament. But really, we try to steer clear from the win-loss record as a goal, and really just focus on the things we can really control, which is our performance. So hopefully you're in a place with your team that when you do the things that you know you can do, you get the results. Sometimes it doesn't happen. and we've been fortunate. 4 times it's happened for us.
And you've had, in your first 5 games, you had 4 shutouts this year. Michael Weiss played the first 4 games, and then including the Duquesne game Friday, where he got his 3rd shutout in 4 games this year. And then Miguel Rosales was back in there on Sunday, and he got a shutout. Is that a nice thing to have, kind of a good problem to have for a coach? You have multiple keepers that can step in there and do the job?
Yeah, and that's similar to a lot of our other positions. We've got a deep team, we've got a talented team, and we haven't gone as deep in each game and our bench as we probably could have. But the difference between the guy that's starting and the guy that's not starting is very, very small. And that's evident even in Mike. He playing fantastic in 4 games, and then we go with Miguel playing fantastic in the game he played. So, I think that's we can all see that we're really deep in that position, but I think we're just as deep in a number of positions.
Okay, Coach, like I said, you head off to Nashville this week. You got Belmont on Friday and Lipscomb on Sunday. Any other thoughts, anything you wanted to mention that we didn't touch upon?
No, just excited for training. We have a few days here. These longer weeks are good. We've got a list of things we want to work on from the weekend, and a chance to get better at those and apply it on the weekend.
Okay, thanks, Coach.